So we use Vichidal, and this is going to cost anywhere from about $350 per month, usually $350 per month for 25 agents, right? Vichidal, I'd say, is the cheapest. Another one that is good that we also use on some stuff is called Kixi. Now, this one I would say is the most TCPA compliant, because what it does is it's a click to call dialer. Okay, so what that means is click to call means it's not like doing any kind of like predictive dial or anything like that. Kixi is a lot more expensive. If you look Kixi, it's like I don't think the pricing isn't accurate here. Yeah, they charge quarterly essentially. So I don't really like, if you're starting out, it can stack up pretty quick. But then when you scale, Kixi is going to be a lot better. All right. So you got your dialer at about $350 per month, 25 agents. The agents, in terms of where you find them, really, the best thing to do is you want to source via things like.
For some reason, I can't see my digital card.
Sorry, I was at a sharks on mute here. I sourced it via Online Jobs. PH was the main way that I found call centers. I mean, it's just Upwork. In terms of like what I was looking for, really is I'm looking for I actually try to find established call centers already. And I just put that in the job post, right? Now, in terms of how much it's going to be, what it ranges. Sorry if you're getting anxiety from seeing my desktop. In terms of how much it's going to be, you're looking at, sorry, established network. Cost is going to be anywhere from, I would say, $2 to $5 an hour per agent in Philippines. Now, whether this is something where it's like, honestly, like I don't see, I mean, running a US call center like is going to be United States based, is going to be anywhere from like, I would say at least $15 per hour for agent. And that's, really, really on the high end. I wouldn't really go for that. I mean, like we're still doing fine with these ones, right? So then the data. So data, super, super simple. All I do is basically pick an in market. So like roofing, right? And then export the data. So let's go in here and have a look. So I don't know whose account I'm in right now. Oh, this is the thing. So all I did was just go here. I did for roofing, right? So you can see like you have the roofing data set. And then what I'll do is you just go through and you freeze this field here. And then you scroll all the way to the end and you've got a few things here. So this one here is skip trace wireless number. Okay. So the home number, like landline, I don't think is, I don't find that good, to be honest. But skip trace wireless number is always like, this one's really good. We've seen this like probably like 95% accuracy, right? Because it's actually based on like offline data. So we'll go here and what we'll do is we'll click filter. And then I scroll down and I only want to go for ones that are filled out, right? So apply filter. And then I've got these numbers here. What I will then do is you export this, right? So you've got your list. So let's go here, let's export data, filter to wireless only, right? So then what I'm going to do, skip trace, is I'll export the file. And I'm going to go into ChatGPT. Let me just log in. And I'll show you why I'm doing this. Because what I do is I use this prompt here. So where is it? This is the prompt that I use to put it in. Basically, what we've seen when using like skip trace data is it's always so this number here, if you go in, this number is the most accurate. And this is usually like the closest, like it could be the husband who signed up, and then it could be the wife, and then it could be somebody else in the household. So it goes in that order is what we've seen. So what you want to do is you want to grab the file. So let me just grab this file and I'll show you an example. And we'll go into ChatGPT. And I'll just upload this. All right, and then I'll just chuck in this prompt. And basically all I say is please process the file. In the skip trace wireless number column, each cell may contain multiple phone numbers separated by commas. I need to extract only the first number from each cell and create a new column with this first number. Could you help with this? So I just chuck this in. And what it does is it just goes through and it just extracts the first number. So I don't have to go through and do that manually, right? So you can do all numbers. I mean, it's really up to you, but if I just go through and I extract the first number, and then you can download it. So does that make sense? It's all it's going to do is just extract the first number for you. Okay, so let's go in here. So basically use ChatGPT prompt to extract only first number. All right. Next thing is we're going to go into data building. And then let's get into data cleaning. All right, so then what I do is the website that I find works best is Subscriber Verify. Now, this is super cheap. I mean, it's basically $50 per 100K records, which is phenomenal. It's great. So Subscriber Verify, if I jump into here, let me see. So I'll basically come in, upload a file, and I see most of my files here, like this is like, you know, before we started doing more, I think here, but all these, I usually get like a 90 to 95% on that, right? So then what I'll do is it will give you a file and you basically just download it and you just need to filter out anything that is not valid. It just might be the numbers like discontinued or it's ported or whatever, right? So you're always going to get those. It's just is what it is. So $50 per 100K records is super, super good. Then what you'll do is, so I'll just go subscribe and verify. Then what I'll do is, and this is one of the most important parts, is I'll come into here and I'll go to TCPA litigatorlist.com. Now there's a few ones to use. There's DNC and there's Blacklist Alliance, I believe. Blacklist Alliance, something like that. I really spelled that wrong. Blacklist Alliance. That one, right? Basically, like, this is just to scrub it against litigators, but they also have a really good DNC too. And I run it in here. It's really essential to run it in here. And what you want to do is, so we have our own DNC that we're currently rebuilding at the moment. And what happens with DNC is ours is national, based on the national DNC. And in order to access that, you actually need to be like a registered call center and have a SANS. And it's like a $22,000 a year data set, right? So we have our own DNC coming out. These guys also do DNC, but they do state as well. And state's very important. So these guys, I'm using them for like a couple of weeks now, and like they're super good. I mean, in terms of the pricing, let me see if it has the pricing. I find these guys are pretty cheap. You're looking at about $200 for 200,000 phone scrubs, which is pretty decent, right? So I go TCPA.
Yeah, can you go back? I want to see if there's a way that that it works with via API on any of these companies.
It does, yeah.
Oh yeah, okay.
Yeah.
Cool.
So yeah, I find these guys super good. TCPA, so you're looking at $200 per 200K scrubs. And you want to do, hang on. Darren, I see your message and I'll just put you in touch with Nathan at the end of this. TCPA, 200K scrubs. And then basically what you want to do is you want to do DNC state, DNC national, and then you want to do TCPA. Basically like really with TCPA is like, and again, not TCPA lawyer, but what I've found is a lot of people treat this as like a side hustle. So like there's people that like lawyers literally run workshops for people to, they give them like templates of like, oh, if somebody, like I heard a story of what this lady did is she bought like 10 cheap phones. She signed up to the DNC list and then she signed up to like all these email newsletters to spread her email out and spread her number out. And then they hope and they pray that somebody's going to call them when they're on the DNC list. Because, you know, people do obviously. And the minute somebody calls them on the DNC list, there's like apps and things like that. And basically what they'll do is they'll send like a letter of demand, like, hey, you're going to pay me $1,000 if you called me and things like that. And it's pretty stupid, but that's why DNC is so important, because you basically have people that are hoping you call them. Like they sign up to the DNC list and then they sign up to like all these newsletters hoping that somebody's going to call them because they're just trying to make money. That's basically the importance of the DNC. So what's cool about the TCPA scrub is it actually identifies those people. Like these are people that are trying to get you to call them. Like we call them TCPA trolls, right? So what I like about these guys, and I actually spoke to the dude of how often he updates it and everything like that, is it's super updated. Like it updates like every single day of TCPA trolls because people can add trolls and things like that. So I find this really good. DNC scrub, these guys are more on the expensive side. I think, I don't know. I mean, I prefer these guys. And then Blacklist Alliance, these guys are good too. With these guys, it's going to be more, I mean, you got to do a call to decide. I think when you do volume, these guys are pretty cheap, but you have to do a call and everything like that, which is super annoying. But a lot of these companies are gonna fearmonger you to like pay like the absolute most. But yeah, so TCPA litigators, so we're looking at like 50K per 100 records, data cleaning. And then once I have that, then basically, you know, you've got like your campaign. Now, really the biggest thing about, you know, scripting is one, I always say is I address the fact that we are canvassing and have nothing to sell you. That's just what I add. Like when we do the script, that's what I add in, is I just say, hey, look, we actually don't have anything to sell you. We're just canvassing. Right. And that's the truth. You know, don't try any, like, just be honest, like literally just be honest. Like, oh, we're canvassing. Then what I do is if I'm using an overseas agent, I basically just have them address that they are on the remote team and have an accent if that's okay to continue. Right? So like I literally, a lot of people like want to have it where, you know, they're like, oh, where are you calling from? It's like, oh, I'm actually here, blah, blah. I literally just say like, they say, hey, you know, we're part of the remote team and have an accent. I hope that's okay to continue. If you address that, people are like, oh yeah, no, that's fine. Some people will be like, no, you know, like, I don't want to speak to you, and that's fine too. But you just address that first up. That way, you know, you don't want to mislead people. You want to make sure you do everything TCPA compliant. So we always make sure we do that. It's basically just, yeah, those are the main things there. those are just the two biggest things. I mean, again, this is something that I just kind of like, I just did this week and it's already starting to like pick up transfers and things like that. But yeah, I mean, that's what I did. So in terms of KPIs, like what to expect. Is basically you're going to be looking at, I would say what we're seeing at the moment is out of 10,000 leads, right? You're going to have 80%, like 70-80% is always going to be, and this is, it doesn't matter about the data quality, it's always going to hit like my 70% voicemail, just because you're calling people, right? You're always going to see that voicemail hit. So what happens is like, it's just going to roll over each day. Usually out of 10,000 leads, we're going to see anywhere from 40 to 50 transfers, bookings. And that's out of a list of 10,000. Now, this basically can spread sometimes across 2 to 3 days. So what I mean by that is like you have a list of 10,000. That first day you'll rip through it because about 70% is going to be the voicemail anyway, and maybe like callbacks. Whereas like then you're going to have like 40 to 50 out of that 10,000. It could like 3 days to get it. And then obviously, yeah. But that in a nutshell is literally, so we're looking at the raw costs there. I mean, you're looking at about $350 per month, 25 agents. You're looking at about $2 to $5 an hour per agent. You data cleaning, you know, for 100,000 records to clean is $50. To scrub 200,000 is $200. So, and if it listed 10,000, usually you can get anywhere from like, I would say at least 30 transfers. And then in terms of selling transfers, you can look at for, I would say 30 to $40 is the usual one. Now, there's a caveat with transfers. The reason why we're doing home services is like a lot less regulated than say like Medicare or something like that. Like Medicare, we just started creating our own agents and getting licensed agents because a lot of companies will require you to have what's called a Janaya token or something from Active Prospect. So basically there's two different companies. There's Active Prospect and then there's Janaya. Yeah. So Active Prospect, basically what it is it's a something of consent. It's like a string of consent, a consent string that you put this code on a form, and then when somebody fills it out, basically you've got that consent string. Now, what's crazy is like even if you have this and you get caught up, the person can just lie and be like, "No, I didn't consent." Like if they're out to get you, they'll just lie anyway. And then that can't save you. So it's like, it's honestly one of some of the dumbest things, but a lot of networks, like bigger networks, say like, you know, Market Call, some other bigger networks like that, they will require you to have a lead ID token. And that kind of rules out doing anything like cold calling or email or things like that. You could get them to fill out the form on the call, but then the timestamps don't add up. So I might do something on that in terms of like how to set up the Janaya token, how to set up active form and things like that with ads. But yeah, I mean, if you go to like a private buyer or something, you can easily just do like transfers and warm transfers and inbounds. But when you go with like big networks, depending on who you're going with, they're going to require you to have some kind of token or something. But yeah, I mean, that's pretty much how I did it. Yeah. Any questions? Again, I'm usually an ads guy, but I got to the point where I was like, oh, how can we get this to be as cheap a transfer as possible? So for some of our, you know, one of our older VTDs, we just started building this out. Yeah, does anybody have any questions in terms of how that works?
Hey, Adam.
Yep.
In one of the threads on school, I saw somebody talking about using AI voice for the calls. Do you have any experience with that?
Oh, I
Or
don't
can
do
you talk
that.
about that?
Like if you don't ever do outbound, don't ever do outbound AI calling. That's a big no-no.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, that's if anything's gonna get you like on TCPA, it's that is any kind of like
Gotcha.
outbound dial or anything like that. Like it's you gotta, in fact, if you're gonna look at like who to go through, because even VCDAL can be classified as like an ADTS, which is like an automated dialing system. So like Kixie, these guys are probably the most compliant. And if you have a call with these guys and you speak to like about the best way to do compliant, that they can help you out a lot, because it's not actually, it's not illegal to do cold call or anything like that. It's just a TCPA. It's you don't want to hit the DNC, you don't want to use any kind of automated dialer, and you don't want to use AI. Those are like the three biggest things. Text